Well, I give agents the choice. They can service the traditional way if they want. They have access to the same portal, or the customer can do it and not have to reach out to the agent. And it's back to what I said originally, that if I can help an agent take that administrative time off the list and they can spend their people time on true people activities, the revenue goes through the roof.
Hello, my name is Jason Reichel, and you're listening to Risk Management Brick by Brick. I'm fascinated with people who are helping build and maintain the physical world around us. On each episode of this podcast, we'll dive in with a risk manager, speak to them about how technology plays a role in this process.
Hello, welcome back to Brick by Brick. I'm Jason Reichel. We're joined by Jack Ramsey, VP of the Agent Channel at Next Insurance. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
You've had a wide career. You've worked at a lot of companies. We'll get into that in a second. But I want to understand a 60-second pitch on sort of what you're doing at Next, why you're at ITC, and we have this. We're doing like a special on AI. So how's that playing a role? Just kind of let's give the 30-foot overview of what's going on with you right now before you sat down, and then we'll dive into the episode.
Absolutely. So I'll do an intro here in just a moment, but yeah, 35 years in the business. And as you said, started off as an insurance agent, but the journey of traditional insurance carriers led me to fix problems that Next has solutions for with agents that I care about. Right. And this event is 100% about that next level of not only innovation, but AI and ways to make the life of an agent more efficient and easier. Yeah. And frankly, that marries nicely with the model that Next Insurance has built over the 10 years that we've existed.
Risk managers are probably familiar with Next, but what is Next mission? What's Next mission statement? What are they put on in this environment to do?
Absolutely. 100%. We are the simple, tailored, multi-channel, 100% fully digital insurance solution for small businesses. And we do that through the relationships we have with agents. Absolutely. Very important to us. Consumers that want to engage with us directly, and even consumers that want to investigate insurance through partnerships that they have with organizations whose customers are small businesses. Yeah, right. So it's a trifecta of meeting them where they are, and then bringing the fully digital solution to play.
Flexible programs for basically what they need to accomplish it.
I mean, they all, and probably more so today than ever before, they need to have access to an insurance carrier when they need it. Yeah. Not just simply 9 to 5, but what about a Saturday at 10 o'clock? What about a Sunday morning before church? And having an organization like this that offers those multi-channel opportunities really solves that need.
The entire built world needs flexibility in order to be successful. In insurance, we all have crazy titles. What does a VP of the agent channel do? What is that job?
Yeah. So if I can, I'll briefly mention the 3 channels because it's super important. The first is the direct-to-consumer channel, which is how Next was founded. Yeah. Customers learn about Next. They can go to our website, quote and buy their own insurance if they're comfortable doing that. Yeah. And it's a very simple walkthrough process for them. The partnership channel, which as I mentioned, has relationships between Next and organizations whose customer base are small businesses. They don't have an agent or broker involved, but somewhere within their ecosystem, embedding that direct experience allows them to create their business formation and then get insurance, for example.
Right.
And then the third, which is my responsibility, the agent channel, is any type of agent that offers Next Insurance products to their customers, be it a small retail agent, it could be an agency group, an aggregator, a wholesaler, national broker, exclusive agent carrier like an Allstate or a Farmers. Anything sold or distributed by an agent is my shop, is my channel.
Okay. So that's more of what you might consider like a traditional model, right? Carrier working with agents and putting that in place. Let's just talk about what are the challenges with your particular model right now that you're managing, and where are you? What makes a good an agency to partner with? Like, how do you determine that, and how has that changed in the last 5 years?
Man, we solve such an important need for agents at Next that I could never solve before, and that's frankly what brought me here. So for years and years in the small commercial space, agents that I've known for decades would come to me and say, small business, average premium $1,500, sometimes $1,000, sometimes $500. I can't make money in this if I have to touch it more than once.
Right.
And I don't understand why the big name traditional carriers still refer to a human underwriter half the time.
Right.
Because then all of a sudden my financial model is blown. I can't do this.
Absolutely.
And so Next solved that problem by identifying there was a massive need there, and being a 100% fully digital sales and service carrier allows the agent to, within seconds, know, is it in our appetite? Yes or no? Do we have enough information to confidently underwrite the risk through a digital underwriting model?
Yeah.
And at what price? And if the answer is yes to those, which we know in seconds, agent can collect a premium, bind the policy, and move on to the next one.
Yeah.
There's no follow-up forms, no underwriting referral can ever occur with us, and they can actually be finished in 5 minutes, go to the next account, and create revenue.
Which is a win for them because of the operational model they have to have happen. And a win for the customer too, because they're not being exposed to, let's say, the underbelly of insurance that is also probably difficult for them to manage.
Absolutely. And the other benefit, which I know is kind of part of ITC and what this organization does, is if you can blend the technology piece into that, to where, and you asked a question about the type of agent we work with, the breadth of, like I said, a very small one-person retail shop all the way to a national broker. Our system is designed as a technology company first that sells insurance. So the model is super efficient. It's intuitive. It walks an agent through the quote process to guide them on that journey of how to counsel and understand risk, so that, number one, they cover everything that the person needs. They do it as part of the embedded journey we give them to understand, to lead them to the right point. And so bringing that technology solution so that they can spend their actual people time, not on the administrative task of quoting, but instead on actually asking risk questions, asking about what they do specifically in their business and what are they most concerned about. That's where the value is, in my opinion, of the agent interaction, not so much being administrative.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that's changed in the last 10 years in this industry as it relates to brokers or agents, which is there's a bigger demand for them not to be experts at getting the policy, but being a value added to the service. And I'm guessing that it doesn't change just because you're small, medium-sized business, that what you really need is someone thinking about your risk program, as an example. Right?
Exactly. And also along with that, you're right, a small business, and so my wife is a small business owner as well, they don't necessarily know the difference between a general liability or professional liability.
They're just getting what you told them to get, right?
What they're required to get, unless there's an advisor who can say, wait a second, businesses like you need these things, and here's why.
Let's talk about some concrete wins. Since you've come on, what are some concrete wins that you've had that, is sort of your directional compass, so to speak, for, say, if I'm going to speak to you 1 year at the next ITC, what is it that you're going to be focused on for this next year?
Yeah, so a couple things. First, since I joined Next 2.5 years ago, the number of agencies that we work with has multiplied. And it really gets to telling our story correctly, to where we're not a middle market carrier. In fact, this is a frustration point with me and a lot of my agent friends, that carriers aren't clear. They're not transparent on what they really want an agent to think of them for.
Right.
They may say, hey, give me all of your small business.
Right.
Knowing that every carrier defines it in a different way.
Yeah, right.
But for us, when I came in, we're fantastic in the micro end of small commercial. We can do it within seconds. We can guide the agent whether they write one policy a day or one policy a quarter. It's just as easy to work with us. Never have to be retrained, but don't get frustrated by trying to plug something into our model that doesn't fit.
Yeah, right.
Think of us for the micro end of small.
More like qualifications. You put more qualifications around clear guidelines. And so you've seen the agent pool, you said triple since you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating to me is the conversations that I had when I first arrived with, again, it can be a small agency or a large broker, is we don't need another small business carrier. We already have X, Y, and Z. But when you can get them to pause long enough to hear the value, to where, what if I could take 40% of everything that comes in your door, handle it with a fully efficient, fully digital model, so that your people could spend their time on the bigger accounts, the things that are more complex, that naturally need an underwriter conversation.
Right.
Now, all of a sudden, it's a 1 + 1 is 3, not 1.
I imagine those agencies, even mid-sized brokerages, like, they want to get more business, but they have to invest in resources because of the transactional model. So the digital model allows them to scale their business without necessarily scaling their resources as they would before.
Right. And I'm sure you've probably seen so many agencies, especially the larger ones, have started moving away from small commercial, paying their producers only for accounts over a certain size because it's not efficient. And when you can come and solve that piece for them.
Yeah, that's like a pipeline mechanism. It's like, you're going to service us now because these businesses are going to grow, and then that's going to be beneficial for you in the future.
Exactly. And then you go to the next level of service, back to administrative tasks. And I'll get to this a moment as well. My son, I have 5 children, awesome kids.
Okay.
My middle is an independent insurance agent, has his own office. To watch how he has done his business different than I did when I was an agent is fascinating. Totally, endorsing and following the model of what you see at ITC of innovation. But just amazing to see the differences in just the
Technology first agency, essentially. Yeah, right. I mean, they're digital. Your son's probably digital first, right, his whole life. I do have a question about that. So what are the top 3 cycle time killers in small commercial submissions or in binding policies? And if you were going to start an agency tomorrow, which things would you tackle with automation and technology? Or maybe what stuff has your son tackled with automation and technology?
So it may sound simple, but interaction with a customer from an agency perspective, people don't answer the phone. Embedding a system of social media and text have been game changers.
I love that, because if you're going to, let's be real, these medium businesses, they have the same needs as an enterprise. You can't interact with them as much. So when you do interact with them, you have to basically be able to pick up the conversation right where it was and be finely attuned. Technology, AI, ChatGPT, all these tools are tools for having a communication as if we just step back into the room, right? So I'm seeing a lot of this transactional model being solved through text, through automations that are just about keeping that relationship top of mind for each person involved.
Yeah, and I think it's fascinating because stepping outside of insurance, if you think about the ways that we choose to interact with businesses ourselves, so many insurance agencies don't do that. Like, they leave work and then they do it that way themselves, but then they don't bring it into their insurance agency.
Absolutely. I love that. Let's talk about human in the loop, like still in this process, because Next showed up on the scene. We're digital. We're doing this, and I think they got that, and now they've been around for a while. They brought you on 2.5 years ago. That seems much more in line with a traditional insurance model. What kind of things have you learned or they've learned that's important about putting these humans back in the loop in a digital process?
So for me personally, I believe that's really important. So number one, I don't think in 2026, the agent value is doing a certificate of insurance. It isn't, that's not why they should be there. So where can we take that off their hands so that they can spend their time, like I mentioned before, talking to an underwriter about a more complex risk, or talking to customers, through the social media, the digital ways to answer their questions.
Right.
But bringing the menial task, and this is what I talk to my son about often, is like, what's all the busy stuff you do every day?
Yeah.
If that could be taken off your plate, how would you spend your time?
Yeah. Amazing. I love that. Talking about AI and guardrails and things like that, what kind of stuff has Next leaned into around AI? What stuff are you guys still figuring out?
So from a quoting perspective, our business is fascinating, especially at Next, because we use data so richly and intently to minimize the number of answers an agent has to give us.
Yeah.
So, imagine the step where now we simply need the name of the business and the address.
Yeah.
And we say, is this it?
Yeah.
We found it?
Yes.
And you say, yes. We say, well, we know everything about it now.
Yes.
Just confirm these 3 things and here's your quote. And so bringing that model into that equation to make the life of the agent so much easier and efficient is where we're headed.
That's where you're headed.
Yeah. And we're actually testing it now in a couple of classes of business.
I'd love to talk more about that. That's a real data advantage that you guys have. If you're digital first, what ends up happening is you can build the whole profile off of that, right? And it becomes richer and richer over time.
That's what will bring us into 2026. So today we have limits on what we consider micro or small business.
Right.
So let's say it's a 5 million revenue account. It's only 5 million because that's the data we have to give us the confidence to say yes or no.
Right.
When the data can allow us to go to 6 or 8 or 10, we'll go to 6 or 8 or 10. It opens up more market.
That's really, really awesome. I love the way that you guys are using data and building these risk pools and trying to find closer to what I'll call real time, even though we're talking about business data here, but closer to real time information to build a model that a lot of carriers, a lot of brokerages wouldn't use because they're using very, very old actuary models that can't really keep up with what is happening real time to these businesses, right? I'm sure if a business has opened up 3 locations, it's a different risk than if it's a single source location. There's all these kind of factors that go into it. What's kind of some of the most interesting factors, just for shits and giggles? What's one of the most interesting factors that you've kind of found coming to Next that really makes a difference for a small business?
Well, so a couple things. One, just the speed of how we do what we do.
Yeah.
What might take a traditional carrier a year to decide how to make a change in a policy coverage or a type,
right,
and then file it and get it on market,
distribute it to their brokerages and educate them, the training required for that. That's one of the reasons why packages move so slowly, right?
Yeah, and for us, that could be a month. It could be 2 months. It could be 30 days just to get something meaningful out. And I'll give you an example. Because we are in the small end of small commercial, our limits fit the majority of those businesses.
Right.
So for example, just until July, we would max out at a higher non-owned auto of 250,000.
Yeah.
And a cyber limit of 50 to 100,000.
Right.
And through the agent council that I have that gives us advice and guidance on things that are needed in the market, we changed that to $1 million because they asked for it.
Right.
But we could do that quickly and nimbly to bring that to market to solve a problem that we know they have.
And can you guys, and are you doing or experimenting with tiering? So, this risk is this, so put this person in this. There's a lot of programs that you can put them into, right? It's not just about qualifying them for one insurance program.
Oh, and as you would imagine, we have millions of tiers.
Yeah, why I'm asking this sounds stupid. I know what Next does, right? Yeah. But I'm asking this because what the hell is wrong with other carriers that this process can't happen? You can't answer that, but I can say it, right? I can say that because that's my job to say that. So how do we continue to push innovation across the carrier space? Obviously, it's an advantage for Next. What would you say to all of the carriers that you've worked for in the past? What should they be willing to let go as they move into the future?
And so again, that's my background. Like up until 2.5 years ago, 30 plus years living in that world. If I were giving them advice that they listen to, it would be adopt it. Like don't make dumb decisions and just jump on the first thing that comes in your door.
Yeah.
But not only be open to what this can do for you, but actually pick 2 or 3 things and implement it. Like just get it going and get it started.
So many things that carriers and in brokerages die in the innovation area. Like they have all these innovation things, they have good ideas, but then they can't take that innovation and deploy it to the commercial teams, right? What besides technology, what in the Next DNA allows you guys to have the mindset to deploy quickly and to get things into market? Is this the reduction of risk by the customers you service, or is there something more fundamental, do you think, about Next?
To me, there's 2 really specific and profound things. One is our message, our mission as a company is think digital first every time. Anything that we consider that someone asks for help with, or that we look at as an opportunity to market.
Yeah.
The first thing that we do is decide, can it be done digitally?
Right.
And if it can't be done digitally, we often pass on it.
Yeah.
Like that's our thinking day one. And so that mindset is unique to a company like us and how we go to market.
Amazing. I want to play a game of Risky or Too Risky?
Sounds great.
Okay. Auto binding a BOP using only bank fee categories and MCC codes. Risky or too risky?
That sounds a little too risky.
Why?
Selfishly, because I have so many more data points than what you just described.
Right.
To make that answer in seconds.
So more data is the answer there. Right. Okay. Instant search with additional insured language and 0 human QA.
That is, go for it. Not risky. We do that today. And that's on the service side of the house. That is our true value add, where customers are showing up at a job site at 7 a.m., pulling up a live certificate on their phone without having to call the agent for that info. They love it. They don't do it because we force them to. It's actually a beautiful model. I give agents the choice. Yeah. They can service the traditional way if they want. Yeah. They have access to the same portal, or the customer can do it and not have to reach out to the agent. And it's back to what I said originally, that if I can help an agent take that administrative time off the list, and they can spend their people time on true people activities, the revenue goes through the roof.
Amazing. I love that. Scraping client social media for underwriting signals.
We do that all day long. again, that's our secret sauce. And it's truly fascinating because we do a ton of restaurants. That's our fastest growing segment.
Yeah.
And when you have I'll call it a traditional carrier question set.
Yeah.
Ask hours of operations. Do you have a dance floor? Do you have happy hour specials?
Yeah.
No, of course not. We have none of that stuff. And then we scrape the social media and you see how this person
Margarita Tuesdays, 4 for 1.
It was the best night I ever had at 2:00 in the morning when I was dancing with my tequila and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know that through the social media scrape, but not through the questions.
Auto renewing when payroll data shows exposure change, no agent confirmation.
So we auto renew everything. So we're very comfortable with that.
Do you just auto renew and then if it's the wrong choice, you'll make a correction the next time?
Of course.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Last question I have for you, my friend. You've been a great guest. We have a lot of young people that listen to the podcast. What's a piece of advice you would give to someone who's coming into the industry, and where would you tell them to focus?
I think there's still tremendous value as an insurance agent. I don't think that's going to go away in my lifetime. I'm so excited and thrilled to see the next generation and my own son coming through this model. And I think embrace the technology that exists today, just like you do in your personal life. It's only
going to get better, right?
And then bring it into the insurance business.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you so much, my friend. It was a great conversation.
Wonderful seeing you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Risk Management Brick by Brick is brought to you by TrustLayer. Find out how TrustLayer manages risk so that the people can build the physical world around us. Head over to trustlayer.io. And then make sure to subscribe to Risk Management Brick by Brick on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. On behalf of the TrustLayer team, thank you for listening.